Hey nerds! I decided to do a quick video because everyone was asking me to do the tier list again and actually make the tier list with Jay, but the thing is, me and Jay are kind of waiting until the 27th or 28th, whichever you prefer, because, well, yeah, there's a lot going on, mostly having to do with what we're going to be talking about in depth today. That, of course, is the Weapon Refinery system that is coming out, and my honest opinions on things, and, well, yeah. Let me just see if I can't get Faye's reaction there. There's, you know, all those new characters. Yep, Staves changes, all the general stuff. Let's just take a look at Faye's reaction. Come on, trigger it, Faye. I just love that little owl's face when it triggers the transition. And it's probably going to be the thumbnail for the video because, oh my god, yay, happy little Faye. I kind of want the shocked Faye's face, but, okay, so, what does this mean for units? Well, we're going to be going through a few things to point out when it comes to the Weapon Refinery system, the stipulations, the restrictions, and what may be there for those. Just so we're clear, this will not apply to all units. But what it does apply to is game-changing in a lot of ways, okay? So, first up, let's just go into the new features, and as you can see here, you know, you have to do a storyline, but here's mostly what we do now. As you can see here, this is the Silver Lance variety of upgrades that you can get. Of course, you do need more materials. Those are at least 3 materials. The arena medals, which of course are going to be from, well, it's kind of obvious. The refining stones, which apparently will be just from daily quests, things like that. Hopefully we'll see some in Tempest Trials, you know, arena as well, and of course a bunch of other things. We do know we're going to be getting a few quests that, at least around the time this releases, to get you probably some of this stuff. So, that's a good thing. But the one thing to note here, and I'm just going to use my mouse to highlight a lot of that because, well, you know, you'll notice that this gives a lot of HP. It seems to be one of the upgrades that is substantial for this, at least for Effie. You can see that the Silver Lance gives a lot of HP, this one gives Might, and it seems to follow that kind of idea, I guess. I was going to say something else, but, yeah. You can kind of see that it seems all of these weapons will have a different kind of upgrade path depending on which one you want, which is a good thing for a lot of characters, as you can see there. There's defense, which with Effie, I'm sure that you could always roll that and do a lot better. And of course resistance, which would up her resistance even more. This is really game-changing for a lot of things. Not only that, but as you can see there, it ups Silver Lance's might up to what would essentially be a legendary weapon, which for Silver Lance is pretty crazy. And that's not even including the attack buff that we had just a bit ago that you saw. That's 18 might, which is even more substantial, especially for Effie. So yes, this means that characters will get a vast improvement. However, that's not the only thing we need to talk about, and I'm really hyped about this because a lot of things means, well, I'm just going to say that this is a targeted strike by IS for a lot of reasons, and we're going to be getting into that in a second. And of course, I'm sure they'll show off, you know, the refining tools that you can get, but yes, Silver Lance Plus becomes, well, Green Silver Lance Plus gets a little bit more going. I'm not sure if, you know, this seems to be how it's, you know, several of you were pointing out the different colors here, but honestly, I'm not really sure what this is going to be about. It might just be because it's weapons and all this other stuff. I don't remember that being part of the UI, though. But anyways, either way, let's just move on. Of course, arena, refining stones, but now we also, of course, have from here and his weapon Sigmund, which apparently can also be upgraded to be even further from what it is that you've seen before. But as you can see there, Sigmund apparently will get its own pursuit-like ability when you upgrade it as a possibility. Of course, does take Refining Dew, or Divine Dew, I think it is, or Divine Dew. And I don't believe Faye actually said where you'll be getting it, but somewhere like, well, what if it's when you refine a bunch of, you know, other weapons, you get a bunch of dew? That might be a possibility. We'll see how that works out. But of course, Sigmund means that legendary weapons are going to be a vast improvement. It hopefully means that a lot of other ones will be getting them as well, and we have a list here that we'll be going over and giving you an idea. But when we get into the real meat, I will be discussing a lot of the implications that are coming with this, because there are a lot, okay? There are a lot. And hopefully, when it comes to, you know, tools available, we'll be getting a lot more things to at least look at. So, first off, we'll talk about the, you know, list here for abilities on these units, but what we do want to pay attention here is the things on the right side for weapons you can upgrade. Of course, we do have staves, we do have slaying lances, all that fun stuff. A lot of the weapons that have come from special units, you know, the seasonal units that you can get, or, you know, general variety of other weapons that have either been fallen on the wayside or just aren't really used, and that's a good thing. One thing to note here is that a bunch of abilities are not included, a bunch of weapons are not included. Namely, brave weapons are not included in this list, which means that thankfully we're going to be hopefully maybe moving a bit beyond the brave weapon kind of meta there. I don't know if that will actually happen, but hey, no brave weapons, that's a good thing. A lot of the other weapons that would be included that I was fearful they would, of course, does not seem to actually be added. So things like Dire Thunder from our good friend Reinhard and Olwen, they are not included on this list at all, and they do not seem to be mentioned at all. So that's another big benefit for these weapon refinery systems. And of course, we have several weak, or at least not very powerful, legendary weapons here. Fujin Yumi and Deathly Dagger, of course. I don't know how this is going to equate too much, but I would say hold on to your Jafar, at least to see how this is going to go, because this could be a big thing for at least a dagger unit. We also, of course, have other dagger abilities in there, I'm sure. From what I could remember, there were several daggers that actually showed up. You can see Rogue Dagger right there. This could mean a lot for dagger units as we move along. So, I'm hoping that we'll see a lot more as to what's going to happen, but I'm crossing my fingers, we'll see. The other thing, of course, Hot Claire, Sigmund, Mistletoe, God, Sulcati, all of those weapons really do need it. I'm kind of hoping that they'll go along and add some more additional abilities to maybe, you know, push it a bit further, because we do have some weapons that are not that great right now, such as Binding Blade, that might maybe need a little bit of an increase. Not to say that Roy is doing bad, it's just that, you know, it might be good to give him a little nudge in the other direction. Of course, we do know that, you know, all of these weapons are going to be changing, and you will be able to evolve weapons, and that's even better than what I thought was going to happen. But here's the big portion that I want to talk about when it comes to evolving weapons. You know, slaying weapons are cool, meaning that killing weapons are going to be, or killer weapons are going to be further devalued now that they have been decreased. You know, or at least you can now increase them and make them into slaying weapons, which is great. But here are some interesting little things that are going to be coming out with a lot of the changes. Of course, that legendary weapons, you know, your weapons that you get from certain units are going to be able to be evolved. The big standouts here, of course, Tyrfing, which was a atrocious legendary weapon. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you really love Seliph, but his starting weapon, his legendary weapon, was not the best. So naturally, it's going to evolve into a divine Tyrfing. And that means a lot. That means a lot for him. It at least means that he can possibly become a little bit more like his father in some ways. It doesn't fix his speed, but it does push him a bit further, and it's going to be really interesting to see Seliph as he is if you were to give him a divine Tyrfing. That's going to be fascinating. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, Durandal can now become Blazing Durandal, which means that Ellawood... Oh god, Ellawood's going to be really fascinating as well. I mean, the additional heavy blade that comes with it, you know, the additional attack, it's going to be crazy. Ellawood might become something a lot more powerful in the meta. Same with Seliph. And then, of course, we have Dark Aura, which makes Lind really powerful for buffing up additional units around her, especially, you know, since they're melee, which is crazy. Excalibur. I never thought I would see Merrick possibly be pushed up into the meta. I don't know if that will actually happen with this, but it does seem like a step in the right direction for him, which is great. And of course, Naga transforming into Divine Naga is something that, you know, will just push Julia even further into what she needs to be. So, what does this mean for a whole, you know, thing with heroes? Well, this seems like a tactical kind of strike to push units that were originally not doing that great further into the limelight. Granted, it hasn't hit all of them. There's still quite a few out there who really won't take advantage of this. I'm looking at you, Henry. I'm looking at you, Odin. You know, certain units like that who just kinda, and I'm talking about normal Henry, by the way, who just kinda have fallen by the wayside, and when they were launched, they probably won't be able to really take advantage of this. But a lot of the units that you love and enjoy will be able to be pushed even further from where they are. You can make weapons that are tailored specifically to their stats. You can make weapons that are evolved forms of things that really will take advantage of it. And it's going to be something really amazing to see, and I honestly think this is going to be game-changing. The fact that Selith is now on the list of units to look out for, and Ellawood as well, says a lot. Now that you can upgrade slaying weapons to include things like, you know, resistance or defense or even more might or, you know, more HP, says a lot. Joshua, who just recently came out, basically has Hot Claire as a new form. This means that newer units, like, you know, older units like Eldigan, I was about to say Elderwood, that's like a weird fanfiction ship, never mind. Eldigan and, you know, certain characters like Minerva and her brother kinda had that kind of ability, but they didn't have any more advantageous abilities to it. They didn't really have a stat increment. Now you can apply that to them. And that just seems like such a crazy thing to look into. And when someone asks me how much do I think this is going to change it, this is on the level of skill inheritance, in a way. Not quite matching up to skill inheritance, because that made every character great, but it is getting up there. And I'm hoping that as we go along, they'll start to add more weapons that can be upgraded, more things that can be invested into this, because we still have some legendary weapons that aren't that great, and could stand to be evolved or even increased. And as we go along, we're going to be seeing a lot more evolved weapons, a lot more evolved abilities. It's going to be crazy, and I hope you guys are ready for the 27th, because this is going to be something fascinating to see, and something that I'm really excited for yet, you know, all of it. And that's just a crazy, crazy world that we live in, to think that this is actually happening now. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little video where we take a look at Weapon Refinery and how it may change everything. So for those who've been enjoying these videos, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you very soon on everything else. If you're new here, leave a like. If you liked it, well, leave a like as well, I guess. I was going to say, if you're new here, be a subscriber. It really does help. We do a lot of videos here. And we're going to continue to look at and investigate and speculate all sorts of stuff. But right now, thank you guys for watching. Love y'all. See you soon.